You know, do you really want to be a Taoist hermit circulating the light for 200 years in a cave high up above timberline? You can, you know, there's nothing stopping you once you understand that this psychedelic vehicle is available. I'm appalled at that. I mean, it's one thing to change your life to be nicer to your coworkers. It's quite another to change your life to be incomprehensible to 99.9% of all humanity. So once you have the psychedelic tool in hand, then real choices have to be made. What is this to you? Is it simply something that you do once or twice a year to affirm to yourself that it's possible? Or is it something that you can use in some way for your good and the world? That's sort of where I have come to rest, and I hope it's not a delusion. But I think that there are ideas out there, and that they don't do any good out there, that they only have efficacy if brought into 3 dimensions. And there are all kinds of ideas. In fact, they are all ideas. So we're talking about a more efficient internal combustion engine, how people can learn to love each other, how to save the planet, the most efficient way of packing crackers in a box for long shelf life and low destruction of their structural integrity. It doesn't matter what the problem is. The answer can be found out there. Well, it puts people who are into this psychedelic thing in an entirely different stance from all other spiritual seekers. Because all other spiritual seekers are furiously seeking. Psychedelic people are holding back with all their power because they are in the presence of a mystery, and then the trick is to get a spigot on it so that it can be turned on and off rather than just coming at you like a tidal wave a mile high and 20 miles wide. So it's a different problem, an embarrassment of riches, an embarrassment of access to past, present, future, alien dimensions, mantra-hoarding elves, and promise-bearing demons. And so it's strangely enough, it creates a certain kind of conservatism. Now, I don't think that everybody realizes this. Many people take psychedelics in order to prove to themselves that they can, and then gain acceptance from their social group. It's a way of fitting in. But those people, you can always evade the mystery. Not always. But if you're trying to, from the get-go, you can evade fully confronting the mystery. And but if it's what you want, you will quickly discover that, you know, you have hit the main vein, and that changes the rules of the game pretty entirely. Because it's hardly different from death, you know, because you're not going to recognize yourself. That's the point that I wanted to make in talking about the guy up on Cold Mountain. You know, once he ran a gas station, once he followed the Dodgers, but then it all began to slide in this certain direction, and he is no longer recognizable to himself. Carlos Castaneda has Don Juan say, "You must lose your personal history." Well, I don't know whether Don Juan is a real person or whether he ever said that, but it's interesting, that notion. How many of us would be willing to become unrecognizable to ourselves? And yet, obviously, that's the path that one is on. And so then you just decide, well, is there an obligation to go to the end? Do I have to become a genie? Do I have to become a Taoist sage, an immortal? And I think the answer is no. You know, one doesn't have to do that. Buddhism creates the notion of the Bodhisattva. That is, in a way, this same thing. It's where you're just about to go over the hill into incomprehensibility, And then you say, wait a minute, what about the people in the prisons, the naked, the hungry, the oppressed? And you pull back and say, no, I forswear enlightenment until the last being attains enlightenment. Well, it's a noble gesture, but I'll bet these bodhisattvas make this vow with a tremendous sigh of relief. Now they know what they're going to do with their lives. Oh, good, I'm going to work in prisons and counsel the dying and get into political action. Gee, for a minute I thought I was going to go straight into the light.